DIYnetwork.com.
Toss in 3 wildly distinctive personalities.
This is Jermaine the Piggy.
Plus 3 great artsy craft projects, and you've got a craft show you just can't miss.
It's sewing time.
We're hitting the road to check out crafters coast to coast. Hey everyone, I'm Angela Martinez. Welcome to Crafters Coast to Coast. It's always fun watching inspiration at work. And that's what we're doing today. We're checking in with 3 crafters whose imaginations make the world of crafting an exciting place. First up, Portland, Oregon, to meet a crafter who has a passion for vintage sweaters. She also has a passion for vintage handbags. Wait till you see how she combines the two to make one great craft.
Hello, welcome to Alberta District in Northeast Portland, Oregon. My name's Carrie Deutsch, and I make bags out of sweaters. I have a whole rack inside to whack and stack. Why don't we go in? This is my house and my studio. Today in it, I'm going to make a bag out of this lovely yellow sweater that I found at my favorite thrift store, begging to be something else. So instead, we'll turn it into a functional and beautiful bag. I'll begin by cutting it out. Well, I basically just eyeball a rectangle in the shape that I want. I cut through both layers at the same time, leaving the ribbing of the sweater at the bottom just to create a nice finished top. We've got our front and our back. I will move on to the sides and the handles. The sides we'll start with is the stripey, because we're making a bumblebee bag and it goes so well. Now I've got the handles cut. Next, I will wrap them with wire. But first, I have to pin them so that it's easier to work with. You essentially roll it like an empty burrito. Or maybe a cinnamon roll. I love food. Cinnamon roll probably makes more sense because you actually would roll it more than you would for a burrito. Unless it's empty and you have a really big tortilla. I use telephone wire to wrap the handles, which makes them stronger and last a lot longer. I typically use 3.5 lengths of my handle. And you just wrap it all the way down. Now that I've got my handles made, it's sewing time. My sewing machine doesn't go very fast, especially through thick wool. Hopefully this will line up at the end. There's always the chance that it won't. And if it doesn't line up, then I'll unstitch it and try again. And we're done. Now that I have the body assembled, I'll add blanket stitching around the whole perimeter. The blanket stitch, which is a pretty old-fashioned stitch, is a little tricky to start. Just bring it in pretty close to the top of our finished edge. Bring it all the way through, leaving about 3-inch tail. And then come up again through the bottom. You're gonna wrap this tail over the needle. Okay, the second side of the purse is almost stitched. Got my 2 sides blanket stitched. Time to move on to attaching the handles. It's an egg, not a flower. I wear this egg because I love eggs. So I'm sewing this with yarn. Just basic yarn that's ideally the same color as the body of the bag so that if it shows through on this side, it won't show all that much. It'll blend right in. And it's kind of tough at certain points because this wool is so thick at the base. This is a whip stitch. I tend to carry a lot in my bags, and so the handles will stretch, but they haven't yet broken. They won't come unstitched. Ever, ever. So just tie it in a knot and then bring it back through just to hide that thread. Snip, snip, and snipperoo. Now that I've got all 4 done, I'm going to set this aside while I whip up an accessory or two. This cute little thing is the start of my bumblebee for the bumblebee bag. I began this by wrapping the yellow and black yarn around my fingers that I used earlier on the bag and pulled it off and tied it just so it's a big bundle of loops. All them little loops snipped. Now I've got a very shaggy start of a bumblebee. And next, I'm gonna trim it, give it a little haircut. This might indeed be the best part. Just snip away. It's such a great mess. That's our bumblebee fuzz. I've made wings from a white sweater. I'm gonna add them to the bag underneath the body of the bumble, which I will just stitch on using the long dangling thread left over from making the pom-pom. Bring those through to the back like so, and tie it off really well. And there we go. Let's do one more, so he's not lonely. And tie it off. And now I've got my bumblebee bag. Ta-da!
That's cute enough that she could make an entire line of insect purses. Maybe a butterfly bag or a ladybug bag. Later, Crafters Coast to Coast visits an inventive man in Louisiana whose colorful design ideas outshine even his Mardi Gras beads. But first, we're traveling to Texas, where a cool crafter gets creative with clay. That's coming right up on Crafters Coast to Coast.
Find so many fun ideas online, it's scary. Only at hgtv.com/Halloween, America's favorite haunted and ghostly website.
I don't scare easy, but when my wife said she called an interior decorator, well, I thought I'd hear a lot of fancy French words I didn't know, like toile and chabot.
I called Interiors by Decorating Den. They were great. Came to us and brought all the samples right to our house. The design consultation cost nothing, and they handled everything from our approved design through final installation on time and within budget.
Thanks to Interiors by Decorating Den, I'm not afraid anymore. And I love the toile chabot.
Interiors by Decorating Den. We come to you.
Boys, guess who's home with the new men's football game?
There are toys, and there's the perfect toy. And now at Toys R Us, buy 2 video games and get a third free on Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, or Xbox. After all, the only thing better than seeing joy on a child's face is knowing you put it there.
Honey, does this make me look fat?
You betcha.
In the time it takes to pull out the sleeper sofa, you could save hundreds on car insurance. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Can your glue do this or this? Wonder Glue can, but it won't save you any money on car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Why haven't you called Geico?
Tomorrow night on Weekend Warriors. Time for these siblings
Usually get my way.
to cook up a new kitchen.
I'm scared.
But will this renovation
Whoa.
be a recipe for disaster?
What do you think?
I don't think we're going to be remodeling ever again.
An all-new Weekend Warriors, tomorrow night at 8 on HGTV.
Thursday on back-to-back episodes of House Hunters. First, Bobby and Tamika want a new home. They just have to find one they agree on.
I just think it's going to take a lot of effort.
Then,
We've been married a whole 4 months now.
time for these two to find a brand new house that works for their brand new lifestyle. A full hour of House Hunters, Thursday night beginning at 10 on HGTV.
Welcome back to Crafters Coast to Coast. We're on the road finding real people making really cool crafts. We're going south now to visit a spunky Texan who's combined her love for mosaic tiles with her passion for paper clay. And she's created a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork.
Hi, I'm Sarah Felix, and I live in a very rainy Austin, Texas, and I make mosaic tile boxes. This is the box I'm going to make. It's a tile box, and the tiles are made out of air dry clay. It's raining cats and dogs, so it's a perfect time to make tile boxes. We are in my dining room now. I like to craft in the dining room area because there's a lot of space and I can spread out my stuff. Currently, the clay is very wet and you have to keep it that way or it will dry out. I roll the clay into a ball because it seems to spread out better when you roll it out. I use these two erasers as a guide to make sure the clay is at a proper thickness. I'm rolling with an acrylic roller, but you can use any kind of rolling pin. The clay is pretty smooth, but sometimes it does take some elbow grease. I've always enjoyed ceramics. It's always been my favorite thing to work with clay. These air dry tiles are really easy because they could air dry instead of being fired in a kiln. Next, I cut the clay out using sawing motions. The sawing motion makes the cut smoother and keeps the shape of the clay. If the edge is jagged, just remove the excess and smooth it with water. I use baby powder to powder the stamps. You don't want the actual stamp to stick into the clay, so the baby powder releases the stamp from the clay. I dab just a little bit on, and then I press the stamp in. I also use handmade stamps. I made these because I wanted to have something that was unique and original. I'm the only one who has this, and I like it that way. Another thing I use is beads because they have some interesting impressions on them. The edges are somewhat pushed out, so I take my tile again, lay it on top, and cut. After stamping the clay, I actually cut it into 16 tiles. I don't actually measure it, I just eye the center and cut down. And for the next 24 hours while these are drying, it's kitty time. Gigi! Okay, the tiles are now dry. Now I have to sand them. I use a regular old emery board. I sand all of the tiles until they're smooth. The sanding goes pretty quickly. Now I'm going to paint the tiles. I'm using light blue for the background on the tiles. The acrylic paint works really well with the pigment inks that will be the next step. And plus it's not messy, which is very important to me. I paint the whole tile because it's easier than just trying to stay in the small areas that are recessed. On the first box I didn't paint the sides, and the white areas just didn't look too good. I love these pigment inks because they're little petals, and the petals make it very easy to apply. I just want to rub the ink on the surface, but then also in some of these areas, slightly rub over it so that you get the detail. After you've applied the pigment ink, you apply the pigment powders. I usually apply the pigment ink and then the pigment powders right away because the pigment powders stick to the wet ink. Can you see the sparkles? Now I'm going to add another layer of the pigment ink to give it some more depth. This is a emerald green color. I like the mixture of the two colors together. Then I add more pigment powder in a different color. You have to paint the inside of the box because there's no grout on these tiles, and so you see the color behind the tiles themselves. Green and blue are my favorite colors. Everybody has to like green and blue. After the box is painted, I use another pigment ink to color the sides. This is a light blue to match the tiles. I use a contact adhesive to attach the tiles to the box. This is a good glue for tile work in general because it holds to the air dry clay. You might notice the gaps between the tiles. When they dry, they shrink. And the tiles are not perfect, so it makes it very much more handmade. The gaps are good. And here it is, all complete. If you were my friend, I'd be giving this to you. That's a wrap.
And if I were her friend, I would happily receive that gift. I love the pigment ink. It's so easy to use and makes the box really beautiful. Colorful plastic beads light up New Orleans, even when it isn't Mardi Gras. When we come back on Crafters Coast to Coast.
Throughout October, carve out time for all new episodes of your favorite shows on Thursday nights. All new, all night, all month long. Thursdays beginning at 8 on HGTV.
DIY FYI number 1, how to get DIY Network. Step 1, visit our website at DIYnetwork.com. Go to the top right corner and click Get DIY on TV. This leads to a simple form where you tell us a little about yourself and where you live. In a flash, you'll know if DIY Network is available in your area and who to call. No matter your project, interest, or hobby, we've got what you need. DIY Network and DIYnetwork.com. Start here.
That's the big ring.
Gotta go, 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 gotta go right now.
I've got to go now.
If you've always got to go, you may have a treatable medical condition. So ask your doctor about Detrol LA, the #1 prescribed brand for overactive bladder. It helps control the bladder muscle contractions that have you rushing to the bathroom.
Need a break?
No, not right now.
If you have certain stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, you shouldn't take Detrol LA. Common side effects include dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache.
And I don't have to go right now.
Detrol LA.
Right now.
When you've always got to go.
Too much credit card debt? Want to refinance your mortgage to cash out some of your equity? Is your credit less than perfect? Then log on or call Ditech.com. Ditech can help you to consolidate your high interest and credit card debt into one low monthly payment or put cash in your pocket. You'll get pre-approved online or over the telephone in just minutes 24/7. Let Ditech.com help you to lower your monthly payments and get the extra cash you need for any purpose. Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1.
There's nowhere it can hide that we can't find it. Nowhere it can go that we can't get it out. That's why when water damage takes control of your life, we help you take it back. Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Ordering a pizza's easy and good, but it's better with a movie. So let's order a movie.
Time to go to Channel 1001 for movies on demand from Time Warner Cable.
Check out the cool movies.
Time to use the arrow keys and choose a movie. Then press B to buy. Movies on demand.
Whoa, that's way faster than pizza delivery.
Tune to Channel 1001 for movies on demand. Time Warner Cable. Now anything's possible.
13 nights of fright. 13 nights of thrills.
What, are you scared?
13 Nights of Halloween begins October 19th on ABC Family.
For a Halloween like you've never seen, come to the Hallowscream Halloween Spectacular at SeaWorld every weekend in October. Don't miss the best in frights and delights. Buy your 2005 passport now at your local H-E-B for just $51.99 and get this fall and this Hallowscream on us.
Welcome back to Crafters Coast to Coast. I'm Angela Martinez. Just about everyone who's been to Mardi Gras has a keepsake stash of those brightly colored plastic necklaces. But we caught up with a crafter who's found a smart solution to the problem of, well, having too many beads.
Welcome to New Orleans. My name is Mark Kirk. Sure, Mardi Gras is great, but what do I do with all these beads? Beads! Beads! Buckets of beads! What I do is turn these beads into a cool and funky lamp. So funky. This is my studio. This is where I make lots of bright lamps, as you can see. The lamps I make are made from recycled objects, like baby bottles, Mardi Gras beads, red plastic soda glasses, street light bulbs. Everything I find, I recycle. I just got this lamp from a garage sale, and look at it. It's so boring and dull. I need to jazz it up a lot. So I think I'm going to change this into a very colourful Mardi lamp. The idea of the Mardi lamps came from this, which my wife has been making for many, many years. This comes from melting Mardi Gras beads in the oven, and then you hang it in the window, and then it's a sun catcher. I'm going to use a light bulb and not the sunshine. I start off with this metal tray, and then I cover it with foil. Now I'm going to find the center. This came from the old lamp. We're going to place this in the center, take a pencil, and draw on the inside. This hole will have no beads in. This is where the light bulb will screw in, so you must keep this open. Some beads are plastic, some beads are glass, some beads are metallic. You can't melt the glass or the metallic beads. We're going to use the colored beads on the outskirts of the tray and fill it with these plastic beads. This is going to be very colorful because we live in New Orleans, and New Orleans is a very colorful town. You know it's true. This isn't black and white. Recycling in the South is a must. In the 5 years I've been here, it has started to become a daily habit for people. So we have found a little niche where we are able to communicate with the locals, especially with the children, and that's why we use the Mardi Gras beads. They don't have to be exact. Now we're complete. This tray is completely filled with the Mardi Gras beads. No holes anywhere except in the middle. Don't forget the middle. This is where the light bulb goes. We're going to put this in the oven at between 350 and 375 degrees for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But after 10 minutes, make sure you check, because when it starts to melt, it's going to melt very quickly. Okay? Well, now it's time to have a look in the oven to see if it's started to melt. But one thing, we need to put on a mask, because we are melting plastic, don't forget, kids. Very important, a mask. Fumes, toxic fumes, they're not good for you, so put the mask on. And we need to put some gloves on. So now we have the melted beads, as you can see. They're all melted. You can see the string, nice round colours. And now we're going to take the melted bead shade and place it on top of the old shade, and then it's going to drip around this shade. I find the hole, punch the hole, and put the light bulb in the hole into the shade. This will keep it in place. And then all you have to do is just start to mould the shape of the shade. When it starts to cool, it's going to set. So before it's completely cold, we're going to take it off, and we're going to turn the old shade upside down and place the new shade on top and just push it in slightly. This is going to make the shade a little bit taller, so when it's on top of the lamp, it's going to stand tall so you won't see the light bulb inside. We don't want to see the light bulb. Now it's cooled down, I can take the foil off. So the lampshade is complete. We've taken the foil off, we've formed it into a pretty shape. Look how colourful that is. You can even wear this as a hat if you wanted to. But maybe not. This would look a lot better with a light bulb in the middle. So let's put it on the lamp stand, eh? Look at those beads. So pretty, so colourful, so funky. It's New Orleans for you. Should we have this dance, madam?
Only in New Orleans. And that just proves you can recycle anything if you're resourceful enough. We're hopping back to Texas, where Sarah, our paper clay artist, is rolling out something special. That's coming right up on Crafters Coast to Coast. Don't go away.
Tonight on Designer's Challenge, this home's renovation has stalled, and these brothers need help.
You made a good decision for both of us.
Designer's Challenge, tonight at 10, only on HGTV.
Tomorrow on an all-new episode of Curb Appeal. This makeover is up for grabs.
Let's see. I don't like it.
So will our homeowners pick a winner?
This is green and grows in the front yard.
Yeah, that feels really nice.
Then we're giving this home some harmony. A full hour of Curb Appeal. Tomorrow at 10 on HGTV.
It's time to bring new life to old homes. Generation Renovation premieres Wednesday, November 3rd, only on HGTV.
Pooh. Stumbled.
What's she doing?
She's reading.
By herself?
The jet will zip.
With a LeapPad learning system from Leapfrog, kids don't just learn to read, they love to read.
She's liking it.
She's on the last page.
Oh no.
And with a complete library of books,
Reading, math,
you can keep the passion alive for years to come. Leapfrog, learn something new every day.
If you have great credit, shouldn't you get a better rate on your home equity line? At eLoan, you do. We process your loan differently, online. That costs less, so you get a great rate with no lender fees. Apply today at eLoan.com.
We changed to a low-carb lifestyle, and we love it.
But I worried we were missing something from our diet.
So we changed our multivitamin too.
Introducing One-A-Day Carb Smart, a complete multivitamin with more biotin, an important nutrient that helps your body break down the extra fats and proteins you're eating. Plus, higher levels of key nutrients you may be missing when you change to a low-carb lifestyle.
It just seemed smart.
One-A-Day Carb Smart, the multivitamin with more for your low-carb lifestyle.
I choose chocolate milk. I choose the mandarin oranges.
Now every Wendy's Kids meal comes with new choices, like mandarin oranges, chocolate milk, or white milk.
Can you help me choose?
Sure, honey. They make everyone happy.
Wow. These appliances are as high-tech as it gets.
We've got just the place for them.
What are you doing in my house?
This'll go great in your place, too.
Introducing Siemens Appliances, where innovation meets style. Now in the U.S., but only at Best Buy. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours.
Get great decorating and entertaining ideas at hgtv.com/Halloween.
Texas is back on our map. We're visiting Sarah Felix again, our mosaic tile artist, and I'll bet you'll go hog wild when you see what she's doing.
And now we're going to make little flying piggies. And this is how you do it. This is a type of air dry clay. The cool thing about this air dry clay is that it's like chewing gum when it's wet. It doesn't come in very many colors, so to make pink, you must add about this much white to this much red. It's like playing with taffy. People love the pigs. Everybody seems to kind of go crazy with the pigs. One head, one snout, 2 ears, 4 legs, 1 tail, and 1 body. So you attach the head to the body, and you attach the feet to the sides, and then you flatten the snout slightly and place it on. With an embossing tool or back of a paintbrush, poke small holes into the nose so he can smell. And then with the tail, roll it into a small rope and roll it so it looks like a little curled tail. Then the ears. Take a piece of clay, make it into a triangle. Fold the triangle into itself. Attach the ears to the head. And now I need some white clay for the wings and the eyes. The eyes are very small balls of clay. You roll them out into a ball, smash the ball, and then attach it to the pig. Now the wings. The most important thing is that both pieces of clay are about the same size. If the wings are different size, the pig can't fly. I take the clay, make it into another triangle. With the needle tool, I press into the clay to make the wings. Then I attach the wings to the pig. The pig can't see yet. We need a black piece of clay for the pupils on the eye. And then attach that, and this is Jermaine the piggy. Each pig is unique and has its own personality, but I love all my piggies.
And you know who else would love that project? Children, because paper clay is so much fun and so kid-friendly. You just shape it and let it dry. There are cool crafts and crafters everywhere. You've met 3 today. Be sure to join us next time. We'll continue meeting crafters coast to coast.